But I think Klopp's point is the more interesting part of it is the first point he made, not about the
Yeah,
continuity. It's about the some clubs
yeah,
are owned by these
yeah.
huge pools of money, like a Chelsea, and with Real Madrid, they're looking at the books and they're publicly owned. They look like, okay, we have to just make sure we're smart about this, right?
Yeah.
There could be potential long-term consequences to what we're doing if we don't do this correctly. So that's
Yeah.
where I think this comes in. I guess my question to you was mostly like, if the Reguilon decision is a financial one, what is more detrimental long-term? Is it losing a player like him, if Marcelo is 2 years away from his contract being up, and he's already declined? Do the implications of that outweigh the implications of getting 30 million now? Am I making sense?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. First of all, I want to say that I hadn't read the quotes from Klopp, and I think the first half of it is he didn't mind his words. I love it. I love
Yeah.
the way he put it because and the way he treated those other big clubs with obviously big financial help. Jurgen is spitting facts there a little bit, and about Reguilon, I think that here. I don't believe that those 25, 30 million euros are going to make that big of a difference financially for Real Madrid. You have to believe that a club as big as Real Madrid can survive or at least not change their course and their plan because of those 30 million. I mean, you have to believe that their policy and their budget is big enough or at least stable enough and steady enough to survive and not change because those 30 million all of a sudden didn't come because of Reguilon. So I think that here definitely I haven't seen closely Real Madrid's budget, and I haven't seen the whole financial situation for the club. I don't know how the whole stadium thing has affected the club. I don't know how the coronavirus thing has affected the club from a very deep perspective. And obviously, you have to consider again that the coronavirus thing is not behind us. Like the fans are not going to be in the stadium. I don't expect them to be in the stadium in this next season, like at all.
Yeah.
To be honest, until the very end of the season, maybe the start of the next one. So it's not that it has ended already, and Real Madrid can all of a sudden forget about it and just plan ahead. They have to take care of the whole situation by thinking that maybe more cuts are coming or saving some more money is coming their way just because of the coronavirus situation not being solved. So, but at the same time, again, I have to believe that the pros of keeping Reguilon could outweigh the cons here, just because 30 million, you have to believe that it's not that big of a difference for a club as big as Real Madrid. Obviously, 30 million are huge for a club like Getafe, and that's why they were a little bit reluctant to sign Cucurella, or 30 million can make a difference for a club as Valencia, the way they're handed right now. But for a club as Madrid, you have to believe that they can prioritize keeping Reguilon, which is 100% the right move from a sporting perspective, no matter even if Zidane doesn't rate him. Like, Zidane is not going to be the coach for the next 20 years. And quite probably Reguilon is going to still be at his peak, if not a better player than he is today, when Zidane decides to leave Real Madrid, or when Real Madrid decide to part ways with Zidane, no matter how that goes. But Zidane has hinted in the past that he's not going to be coaching Madrid for the long term, since like for a decade or so. So even if Zidane decides not to play Reguilon very often during the next 2, 3, 4 seasons, maybe the next coach will rate Reguilon if that's the case. So I think that it's a very obvious decision from a sporting perspective here. And again, as you mentioned, I gotta believe that the right move would be extending his loan deal in Sevilla. And I think, as I mentioned, it would be a blessing in disguise not to find a permanent deal for him right now.
Yeah, I also think that it's a little bit telling of the market right now that there was an offer from Sevilla for 20 million, and that's all they could offer. they moved to Manchester United, who are reportedly offering 30 million, who but then Real Madrid want to keep the rights to him, so Manchester United are too big of a club to agree to that. So now there's not that many good situations. To me, Sevilla clearly want him. Like there's no that's not up for debate. And so he's perfect situation. He's playing well there. It works. The system works for him. Just go back there on loan. Regarding just as a side note, regarding the idea of keeping the rights to a player, from Mariano's perspective, that was the worst thing that happened to him, that Real Madrid had his rights from his career standpoint, because the alternative was he was going to Sevilla and starting for them, and he would have been, I think, awesome at Sevilla. I think he's exactly the type of player.
Right.
You think of all the chances that Luke de Jong misses, Mariano would probably convert at least some of those. Yeah. And not to do a disservice, because Luke de Jong's movement gets him to those spots, but Mariano is one of those type of players who really will get to balls most strikers can't even dream of getting, just because of pure athletic ability and pure will. That was the worst thing that happened to his career, the fact that there was that clause in there that Real Madrid wanted to exercise when Leon wanted to sell him to Sevilla. So that sucks, but
agree. And to me, the most reasonable thing here would be to buy time until Marcelo's contract expires, until we know how long Zidane is going to be coaching the team, because again, I'm not expecting Zidane to be the coach in 5 years' time, not even 15. Like I said before, overreacting a little bit. I'm not expecting Zidane to be the coach in 5 years from now, and Reguilon 5 years from now would be at his peak. So Real Madrid would be very smart to buy time in this Reguilon case, and if not sending him on another loan deal to Sevilla, maybe just finding a 10 million euros deal, and then with an option to buy him back for 30 or so, that I'm sure Sevilla would agree on, and just buy time to see what happens with the whole left back situation. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Reguilon keeps improving. So it's just a very obvious decision to me, but I could say the same about Ashraf, and in the end Real Madrid thought otherwise. So we never know what's going on in the board's minds here.